So the first two people are Rich Rohde and Julie O'Dwyer, both experienced speakers who will demonstrate to you not only the technique, but the effective rhetoric.
I'm Mayor Stromberg and Council, Rich Rohde, 124, Ohio. I'm a regional organizer for Oregon Action. I'd like to start by thanking Barbara Christensen for her generous time that she spent this week meeting with us so that we can learn the issues that are around Ashland's investment policies and their banking policies. And I'd also like to thank the people of Ashland who've been involved in this issue and have really come out and stepped up to learn about what we're trying to do in the banking local movement. The goals of the banking local movement are really about how we can get responsible banking instead of putting our money in the Wall Street banks, but it's really about supporting our local banking system so that we get money into our local economy, into our small businesses to create jobs. So, first and foremost, we're interested in bringing the community together to talk about these issues. That we believe that when the community is aware and focused, and we're really happy that Barbara pulled this off of the consent agenda and has allowed the community to come out and have these discussions. That I just like to, in the handout that we had, it kind of gives the background about the details, and there's a lot of details that we've learned about not only the banking system that we have with Bank of America, but also the investment system. And we have two suggestions that I'd just like to highlight that we're asking the council to do. One is that you've already talked about, is that in the selection process for the next RFP that goes out, and we would like to see that go out as soon as practical. Now, that can mean that it goes out at the end of the 3 years, but we would really like to have input into that criteria. We've already suggested some, but the community is really hungry to see that our processes are done right. So that ability to have input with Barbara and city staff into the criteria for the RFP is critical. And the second part is that we are at a new stage with the local banking movement in relation to credit unions. Ashland can be a leader in terms of addressing putting our investments into our local credit unions if we make clear in our investment policies that we've incorporated the new changes in House Bill 3700, which is a step that all cities around the state are looking at, that we need 5 cities to step up and make a small investment in that collateralization pool. And if we do that, we will have an ability to get good local bankers. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie.
Thank you, Mayor Stromberg and members of the council. I want to reiterate what this gentleman has said. Thank you, Barbara, so much for pulling this off the consent agenda and giving so much time to these community activists who are really interested in making this part of the conversation. I'm speaking on behalf of in support of what's being proposed as 2 things for you to consider this evening, not only as a resident of Ashland, I didn't say my name, Julie O'Dwyer at 995 Camelot Drive, not only as a resident, but as a small business owner and an active member of the Ashland Chamber of Commerce. What's being proposed for you to think about this evening supports not only us as residents of this city, but also the small businesses who really are the blood and heartbeat of this town. So I support that you listen to what's going to be said this evening, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next up we have Emery Way and Tammy Spencer, and after them Andrew Sellis and Nick Patrick. Have it forward. I'm sorry, getting ready.
Okay.
Emery, you're next.
Sounds good. My name's Emery Way. I'm at 430 Ashland Street. I would just like to speak out in support of the city making changes to its banking policy to invest local and keep the money that we the community have created in our local community. Many in this community have already moved their money out of the large conglomerate global banks into local credit unions. Now we are here to ask that the city, which represents us, do the same in solidarity with us. This is a period where a lot of people are beginning to reevaluate their political and social principles. And I think we could make, as a community and as a city today, a statement that there is still a possibility of human beings acting in motivations other than economic pragmatics. That we can still act and be motivated based on ethics. And I would ask this city council to take that first step, which would be an innovative step and a forward-thinking step. We would be the first city to be moving in this direction. We would be, before even Portland in this case, it would be a shining light of what can happen at local communities and how local communities can be at the vanguard of social change. I would ask that this city decide to be motivated by ethics again and do what is right and keep our money local and keep our money where the people who are earning it, who are putting the labor into our community, where we are living. And thank you.
I'm Tammy Spencer, and I live at 453 Willow Street in Ashland. I'm a member of Oregon Action, and I'm also a member of Occupy in Medford and Ashland. I'm here to present the City Council, Mr. Mayor, with approximately 300 signatures on a petition that we've been circulating. And I just want to read what the petition says. It's a petition to the City of Ashland for a responsible banking resolution. And it says, we believe that the City of Ashland should utilize banking services with responsible local banks and not do business with irresponsible Wall Street banks. Banking locally will keep our city money circulating locally and provide loans for local businesses. Therefore, the Ashland City Council should immediately pass a responsible banking resolution to stop doing its current banking with Bank of America or Wells Fargo. A new request for banking services should be initiated now and addressed to local banks.
Thank you. You can give that to the city reporter. Next up is Andrew Sellis and Nick Pattavor. Did I get it right this time?
Patterson.
Patterson.
Am I worse than usual?
Well, it works for Pattavor. Okay.
Alright, my name is Nick Patterson and I'm a resident of Medford.
Speak into the microphone.
My name is Nick Patterson, I'm a resident of Medford at 526 Windsor Avenue. Today I'm representing Occupy Medford, and I just want to say that we're here to support Ashland's divestment from B of A and Wells Fargo. Banking local is good money management, which is also good for the community. It keeps it local, and they're allowed to make small business loans, which many of the major banks are unable to do or do not take the time to do. We hope that you guys will do this at the next RFP so that you guys can be the leaders and hopefully convince Medford to do a similar action. That's it.
Thank you. Andrew?
I'm Mayor Stromberg and I'm in the City Council. My name is Andrew Sellis. I live at 475 West Nevada Street in Ashland. I'm a retired English teacher, member of Oregon Action and Occupy Ashland, and I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalist Social Justice and Action Committee, author of the article that was in last Friday's Ashland Tidings entitled Reconsider Ashland's Use of Bank of America. I moved from Connecticut to Ashland 3 years ago because it was the conscientious and progressive community I've always wanted to live in. And I moved the bulk of my money out of Bank of America last year, but I had full disclosure, I still have a small account with them, and I'm doing that entirely for what I call pragmatic reasons. And that's because I want to refinance my home, and every time you close an account or get rid of a credit card, which I also have with them, it shows up on your credit report. In the next year, however, I will be fully divested from Bank of America. That is my goal, and I hope it is one that the City of Ashland will also embrace. And while there's certainly a lot of moral arguments to be made for pulling Ashland's money out of B of A, we understand that the city must proceed in a pragmatic way, and this will take time. Cities like San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle are already in the process of reassessing B of A, and we hope Ashland soon joins them. Pragmatic, by the way, was one of the top 10 words people most often looked up online last year, according to the publishers of Webster's. And it indicates that Americans are seeking pragmatic solutions to our challenges. While on the surface it may seem pragmatic for the city to pay a low user fee for the monthly concentration account, the bargain, in quotes, of B of A may be more insidious than it looks. In the last 3 years after the taxpayer bailouts, B of A has returned to profitability but has refused to restore lending to credit-worthy small businesses. In 2010, Bank of America made just 6 Small Business Association 7A loans, the flagship program for small businesses lending in Oregon. Is my time up?
No, you got it. It'll go to yellow and when it goes to red, then you should.
That was a 92% decline from the bank's 77 SBA 7A loans in 2007, a drop that has pushed viable Oregon small businesses either out of business or into higher interest credit cards. The average business card interest rate is 16%, but quality SBA 7A loans average 7 to 9%. Last week, B of A insidiously moved its massive toxic derivative positions, a mind-blowing $75 trillion in notional value, you can't wrap your brain around it, into an FDIC-insured account, shifting its risk of loss on these contracts to you and me, the taxpayers. Thanks.
Thank you. I just have to exhale for a moment. Okay, Evan Ladsley and Pam Barbara.
Hello, my name is Evan Ladsley. I live at 110 7th Street. I won't go ahead and repeat what other people have said already. Important things to think about when making these decisions. But one thing I would like to say is we've seen a movement of consumers and individuals really moving their money, 650,000 since September 29th when Bank of America announced their $5 debit card fee, and that's compared to 600,000 transfers in 2010 as a whole. And so I think this is just the next step in a movement really to reclaim some economic power for local regions and establish some autonomy from Wall Street banks. I'd like to read one quick figure that I think is important. The largest 20 banks in the country have 57% of the share of bank assets in the third quarter of 2009, according to the FDIC. Small banks, which consist of banks with less than $1 billion in assets, have only an 11% share, yet contributed 34% of small business lending, which constitutes a commercial or industrial loan of $1 million or less. The 20 largest banks only make up 28% of small business lending. And so I think the thing to think about here is the long-term consequences of our banking system. And so smaller banks really do disproportionately more small business lending than the big banks, and that's an important thing to consider, even as this will take time to come together. Thank you.
Thank you. Pam.
My name is Pam Barbara. I'm still at 457 C Street. And I want to point out that this is not the first time that the community has come out en masse asking the government to look at local services first. About 5 years ago, I served on the city's Citizens Library Advisory Committee, and at that time, the county had made a decision to outsource its library management services to a company called Library Services Incorporated in Maryland. And the Ashland public was so severely concerned by this movement and outreach that even the League of Women Voters at that time seriously considered not supporting our local library levy because the money was going to be given to Library Services Incorporated in order to manage our library. And that library levy did pass, and the league did come around and support it, as did others, to keep our library open. But there were numerous discussions with citizens at that time, and there were several items that I believe